Paymon who?
Mata Heyday.
Paymon Lata Heyday. Who is he?
Never paid taxes in 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government. Hello to my truth and freedom-seeking friends. I'm Paymon Mutahide, the president of Freedom Law School, which I started in 1996. And tonight I'm going to cover for you the topic of how you can defund the deep state, how to legally and stop paying federal income taxes that you never legally owed in the first place. I've done so for over 30 years, never been to tax prison for not filing and paying income taxes, free as a bird, and so can you defund the deep state with me? First, let's cover this issue, what the problem is of the deep state. I want you to listen a little bit to this famous musician Ted Nugent. Some of you remember him from 1970s, okay? What he's got to say about the IRS. I'm going to come back about the deep state, and then I'll show you the law, how to legally and safely stop paying income taxes. If you've not been to our website, freedomlawschool.org, you definitely want to go there. So let's see what Ted Nugent has to say about the IRS and deep state.
Just like the other BLM, Black Lives Matter, they ripped off people for billions of dollars to enrich themselves, just like all the bureaucrats. The IRS, your scum. You're thieving, corrupt, criminal, anti-American, oath-violating scum. You're stealing hard-earned money from Americans trying to make ends meet, and then you send it to rich people in poor countries. The IRS, the entire foreign aid scam, is taking money from hardworking Americans and give it to fellow corrupt punks, bureaucrat, despot, tyrant, evil slave owners around the world, and then it ends up in Nancy Pelosi's bank account. Well, where's the evidence for that? Everywhere. The Environmental Protection Agency is not protecting the environment. Our government was formed as a defiance to the kings and the emperors and the Führers. There wasn't any Führers at the time, but they all act like Führers and emperors. By the way, Japan, the emperor wasn't God. He was a punk. And you were so stupid to be his slave. No man can control other men. Our government was supposed to represent the self-evident truth outline of the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule. But now Uncle Sam is a gangster thief, virtually untrustworthy, that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and his entire team are starting to spotlight the cockroaches as they torch, illegally, immorally torch American families' tax dollars.
Okay, you heard it. You already knew about it anyhow, but I thought it was just fun to hear it from somebody else besides me. But let's take a little closer look at the corruption, and it includes those people who are solemnly sworn to uphold the U.S. Constitution and its laws from all enemies, foreign and domestic. The judges, right? They're supposed to be independent, but they don't act like it, do they? Okay? Here are some articles about it. Look at this, okay? Radical Clinton judge prohibits Trump from firing more probation workers after Supreme Court ruling. Yep, you cannot fire people. We want the swamp to be working against you, Trump. Okay, here's another one. Ninth Circuit stacked with leftist judges denies Trump administration state injunction on transgender troop ban. Oh, yeah. Judges keep stopping them. Here's another one. Biden-appointed judge orders State Department to provide passports to trans people using chosen sex marker against Trump order. More swamp. Stunning new groundbreaking research utilizing artificial intelligence exposes tyrannical D.C. judges unconstitutional behavior during January 6 trials. There's so many of them, they have to just line them up how they deliberately and knowingly violated January 6's rights. It's just out of control. Okay? So here's another one. Activist judges and the overreach judicial authority, a case for sedition and treason. Yes, they are committing sedition and treason, these crooked judges that America used to believe, oh, the holy judges. Judge said something, God spoke. No, they're crooked socialist friends of the corrupt politicians and the big banks and corporation lobbies that own the politicians, that put the judges in their place. So Associated Press is bringing out this issue up. And look at how the judge who blocked Trump's deportations and is now facing calls for impeachment. Yes, these judges got to get impeached and fired from the job, okay? What they try to do to Trump, they can and should do to these crooked judges, okay? So now you see that this face is unfortunately inside the heart of many of these judges out there that are destroying you and your rights, okay? So remember, what did the Declaration of Independence say? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, rights that cannot be taken away. That's what unalienable means. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. There's more only among them. Okay, that's a preamble to the Declaration of Independence, and it further says this, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. That is right, my friends. You have the right to alter or abolish this government. That's not meeting the needs of the American people. But guess what? I'm not advocating violence at all. We don't need to alter or abolish it. We need to return it to its roots and foundations of the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the laws as written on U.S. government's official legal websites. You'll be shocked to see the truth for yourself. Let's go to the income tax form, 1040 U.S. individual income tax return. Okay, now this individual is not the 50-state individual that the term U.S. suggests to you. This is actually a District of Columbia individual. You'll see it's actually a Washington, D.C. individual. I know that's shocking to you, surprising, but hold on. You will love to see the law for yourself with your own two eyes. Let's go to the IRS's 1040 Instruction Handbook, which I fully agree with the IRS's instructions on page 8 about filing requirements. And it says that these rules for the 1040 form apply to all U.S. citizens. Absolutely apply to all U.S. citizens regardless of where they live and resident aliens. But again, it all depends on the term U.S. It's not what you think. It's not the 50 states. Hang in there. I will show you. We're going to talk about the law, okay? We're going to talk about the law and show you the law. This is the United States Code, which is the consolidation and codification by subject matter of the general and permanent laws of the United States. That's the federal government. This is not the 50 countries of the Union, like Florida, Texas, California. This is the Washington, D.C. government, the singular United States, right? You know what's the difference? Not these United States, 50 of them, but the United States, the singular United States, and it is prepared by the Office of the Law Revision Council of the United States House of Representatives at the website uscode.house.gov. This is the official source of law. Better than any attorney or judge, this is where you go read the law to see what it is when it comes to federal laws. So here it is. Title 26 Internal Revenue Code. Now we're going to talk about that a little bit. Here's one of my personal paper copies of the Internal Revenue Code. This is the Bible of the IRS that they're trying to follow. Over 10,000 pages of gobbledygook minutia, tiny font, teach you thin confusion to confuse you on purpose. And the key is in how you define things. The definitions are not in the front, they're hidden in the back. When we get to that in a minute, you'll see. So let's go look at the Internal Revenue Code. Here's part 1, tax on individuals. And everybody knows, every CPA, any accountant will tell you that Section 1 imposes the income tax. Okay, we agree. Let's go on, though, to talk about this more specifically. And here, we're going to go to the Code of Federal Regulations. This is U.S. Treasury regulations that further explain, interpret, and put in place the federal tax laws. Okay? Let's see what it says now in the Code of Federal Regulations on Part 1.1-1, Income Tax on Individuals. It says that Section 1 of the Code. What are they talking about? Right here, people. The Internal Revenue Code, the Bible of the IRS. Okay? This Internal Revenue Code imposes an income tax on the income of every individual who is a citizen or resident of the United States. There's a little bit more, these couple sections later on, that 871B and 877B, we don't have to worry about those. That's a minor part. The main thing is a tax on everyone who is a citizen or resident of the United States. What does the United States mean? What does it refer to? You'll see in just a minute. It's not the 50 states, okay? Hold on. Let's look at this a little bit more in CFR 1.1-1B. Citizens or residents of the United States liable to tax. In general, all citizens of the United States, wherever residents, okay, are liable to the income taxes imposed by the code. All right. And all not resident alien individuals. Any foreigner that lives in D.C. All right. That's my theory. I'll show it to you in just a minute to see if I'm wrong. All right. And furthermore, we go down and see, and who is a citizen? Every person born or naturalized in the United States and subject to its singular jurisdiction is a citizen. That's what they're talking about. All right. Again, the term United States, we're going to get to that for, once and for all, clearly what it is, okay? Now, this case of Hume versus Allison, okay? Okay. This case talks about what it is, and this presentation, the part that's relevant, tells you that it's 3 different definitions of the term United States. Okay, the second term definition of the United States, which I don't have, but I have it up to seconds, is a land over which the federal government is sovereign. Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute for you guys. Let's put it on the screen for me, guys, if you could, a little bit later on. I'll bring him short them later on. Okay, all right. So here's a relevant part of that. Okay, Hoover analysis. Okay, here it is. The term United States may be used in any one of several senses. It may be merely the name of a sovereign occupying the position, analogous to that other sovereign in the family of nations, like compared to France, Germany, Russia, or China, for example, right? The third one is also we're very familiar with. The third one, it may be the collective name of the states who are united by and under the Constitution. Those are the ones that we normally think about. But the second one is the one that the tax law talk about, okay? It may designate the territory over which, let me straighten this out for you guys, okay? Territory over which the sovereignty of the United States extends. That's right. Sovereignty of the United States government extends to Washington, D.C. and its territories. That is the United States that they're talking about it here. And you see it in the tax law momentarily. Boom! Here it is now. From the horse's mouth, Title 26, we're going to go to definitions. I promised for you that will solve the puzzle for you very clearly. Here we're going to go to Chapter 79, Definitions of Title 26, Internal Revenue Code. And Section 7701 says, in definitions when used in this title, well, of course, they're talking about Title 26, Internal Revenue Code again, right? They define many things that do not even need defining, like person, corporation, domestic, stock. But look at A, 9, and 10, United States and state are specifically defined. Look at state. The term state shall be construed to include the District of Columbia. Funny. Why none of the 50 states are listed? Not New York, not Texas, Florida, none of them. But District of Columbia, which is not even a state, it's a territory of the federal government, is listed there. Because they can. They can define things any way they want. The lawmakers have that prerogative. Now look at the term United States definition. When used in a geographical sense, that's what we're looking for. It includes only the states, which we now know and see. It is only the District of Columbia and the District of Columbia again. They didn't include any of the 59 states or any U.S. territories like Puerto Rico or Guam either. So that's all that there is. Now, I know most of you say, oh, Payman, come on. Everybody knows the 50 states are the states. It's clearly implied. You know, they don't have to list it. No, they do according to, not me, but the U.S. Supreme Court. Let's see what the Supreme Court says about this issue of definitions. Here's a case that just came out in 2024, okay? This is the Kurtz case, Rural Housing versus Kurtz. And the Supreme Court says this, okay? When Congress takes the trouble to define the terms it uses, a court must respect its definition as virtually conclusive. If that is what's in the definition, that's all there is, and no more than that. And it further continues, okay, that this court will not deviate from an express or listed statutory definition merely because it varies from the term's ordinary meaning. Ordinarily, United States means the 50 states, but not here in the tax law. It's only the District of Columbia. Now, some people say, oh, Payman, that's not a tax case. Doesn't apply to taxes. Well, guess what? I'll give you a tax case in just a minute also. Hold on, okay? Here you're going to see the case of Gould versus Gould. This is a 1917 unanimous 1917 9-0 U.S. Supreme Court case that says this about taxes. In the interpretation or understanding of statutes, laws, levying taxes, so in understanding laws that imposes taxes, it is the established rule not to extend their provisions of tax laws by implication or implying beyond the clear import of the language used, or to enlarge their operation of tax laws so as to embrace or include matters not specifically pointed out. If something is not specifically pointed out, it is not there. The 50 states were not listed in the definition of the United States that you saw earlier, right here, see? It's not there. It's not pointed out in states or United States. Therefore, it is simply not there. If you have a hard time believing this, if you have a doubt, the court says in case of doubt, the tax laws, are construed or interpreted most strongly against the government's power to tax and in favor of the citizen not being taxed. There it is, folks. Put your doubts completely behind you because the law is absolutely clear on this issue. You don't have to even go at that one more. In fact, I'm going to give you guys one more definition in just a second. I'm going to do it with you. Watch me, okay? All you got to do, you can just like me do it on your computer. Type in 26 space USC, okay? Section 4612 space US code.house.gov. You can all do it for yourself and see the first thing that comes up. There it is. You click on that. It is this section from Title 26, Internal Revenue Code, Subchapter A, Tax on Petroleum. And guess what? There's definition and special rules. And it says, for the purposes of this subchapter, what subchapter? Subchapter A, tax on petroleum. Okay, tax on oil. They define many things in this subchapter, including the term United States. Well, look at that. United States means the 50 states. Well, there it is. They specifically mentioned the 50 states. They did not forget about it. They could tax oil in the 50 states. They did specifically list them, and the District of Columbia as distinctly from the 50 states, and a bunch of U.S. territories and continental shelf areas. They even added foreign trade zones in there. So it is clear that when they use the term in 7701 United States, that means what? That means only the District of Columbia. That means that 1040 form that you look at that, this is actually a Washington, D.C. individual tax return. That's what the U.S. means. D.C. individual income tax return, but they didn't tell you that up front. They just hid that definition in the Internal Revenue Code. Use the term U.S., but they said, we told you what U.S. means. You should have read the law. It's in there. You know, we didn't lie to you. They didn't lie. They deceptively hid it in plain sight for you to deceive yourself into believing you have to file income tax and support the crooked deep state. Well, you don't have to do that. You can defund this corruption that the Doge, Elon Musk, are finding out with the government, you know, all the criminality and waste that they're doing, right? So with that understanding now, let's go on to the fact that people are still afraid of the IRS. You know, I know most people are, but the reality is you don't have to pay tribute to the beast. It's really slavery. And I'm telling you, you are not a slave. You were born a free man or woman. And the solution for you is, besides following the law as I've shown you on government's official legal websites, write your lawmakers as you see right here. That's right. We have 7 steps to free yourself of the IRS. Step 5 is question authority. Write to your Congress members what I just showed you and more in our petitions to Congress. File and pay income taxes only if your congressman can show you the law that requires you to file and pay income taxes. You people in the 50 states do not owe it. They can never show it to you. They're never done it to people. We've done this thousands of times. This is free petition I'll show you. Not once has one congressman ever showed us the law that requires the people of the 50 states to file and pay any federal income taxes. Okay? Payroll taxes, by the way, same way. Okay? Let's continue on this now. I'm going to show you. Inside the step 5, we have 3 petitions. Download for free. It's your right. It's your duty to send these petitions to your congressman and demand that they enforce the law on the IRS as written by Congress, as upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court. So the first one is on individual income taxes, okay? There's one on employment taxes, another one on self-employment taxes, and 1099 forms. Let's go to the one for individual income taxes, married individual. Here we are, okay? These are fill-in-the-blank forms to write to your 3 congressmen, and the title is what? Justification for Congressional Investigation of unlawful collection of individual income taxes. And these petitions, folks, we introduce it to our congressmen that they'll be amazed, just like I was amazed when I came across this stuff. We spell out the law for them, exactly how it works, detail by detail, from their own official legal websites. Here it is. We decipher it, and after page of exactly verbatim, quoting the law from the government's own official legal websites, what I showed you, and then some more, you'll see now at the end of this petition, the key parts, okay? We say in the petitions that you sent your congressman, we believe every person should pay their fair share of income taxes according to the law. And we have shown you that, like us, most Americans are not included on a list of those who are liable to pay individual income taxes. Furthermore, this letter is our self-determination of our income tax liability, right? And we say at the end of this paragraph that we are not liable to pay any federal income tax. You are being upfront about it all. Okay? I owe zero to the federal government. I've done this petition myself. Okay? And you can and should do it too, right? And then you continue on at the end of this petition and you say, if by reading this letter with officially published Internal Revenue Code and Code of Federal Regulation sections, Supreme Court cases, and U.S. Constitution Court attached, you can show us that we have somehow misinterpreted these statutes, regulations, or U.S. Supreme Court decisions, and that we do owe federal income taxes, we will gladly pay all taxes due and will consider such payment to be our fair share. That's right, people. You humbly tell them, I'll pay my fair share. Just show me where I am wrong. These letters are sent by certified mail by you to all three of your Congress members. Keep record of it to have proof of your good intent in your record. For students, we do it free included, okay? Now here at the end, we ask you to do independent research on this issue and expose it to other Congress members and stop this government renegade conspiracy that impoverishes American people. And we give them some time. We look forward to their timely, specific, and on-point reply, which they can never do. Rarely we had some lawmaker give us some off-the-wall answer, but they never address it on point because they can't. We're right. This is following their own legal websites, right? And then all these laws that were mentioned here are listed here and attached. For example, here's a case of Gould versus Gould I shared you earlier. It's page 32 or 39 pages of, here it is, the quotation. So everything, the laws are attached for the convenience of the lawmakers to quickly read and understand the law, just like it's there for you, to educate you as well, my fellow Americans, as well as your lawmakers. They can never refute you. You're right. You are not required to file and pay federal income taxes, so you won't. Just like me, and you'll be safe. They will never want to try to put you in front of the jury to put you in prison with petitions like this, because they don't want the jury to be exposed to the truth, acquit you, and give a black eye to the deep state swamp. Okay? So all this I've showed you is available for free on our website, freedomlawschool.org, people. Okay? You go there and you can take the 7 steps to regain your power and freedom, and you'll never again voluntarily pay the Washington, D.C. swamp legally and safely, and with a guarantee if you want. People say, Paymon, I know you say all this. I know you haven't paid income tax or filed for over 30 years, but I'm a little nervous. My spouse is nervous. Can you give me some security? Can you back us up? Can you give us any guarantees? Well, that depends on you, my friends. Why? Well, if you are made up of the character of these great men you see on your screen, America's founding fathers, who put their lives, their fortune, and sacred honor for freedom, then there's hope and guarantee for you, my friend. Okay? So here it is. This is optional. It's called the Restore Freedom Plan, Step 6 of Freedom Law School. Okay? You can join the Restore Freedom Plan. You get 100% guarantee that Irish will not take anything from you whatsoever, my friends. Zero. You will not go to prison. And if they ever take your money anyways, whether it's 10,000 or 10 million or more, it doesn't matter. We all pitch into the fund and we'll reimburse you whatever the Irish took from you. 10,000, 10 million or more. It doesn't matter. That's the power of us all working together like America's founding fathers. They did work for them, but work for you and I. Right? Remember, the words of Benjamin Franklin. Gentlemen, we shall hang together, right? And win. Or we shall surely hang separately. Join hands together as a guarantee that you'll be free and safe. Now, by the way, I'll be in Las Vegas coming up May 27th to 29th in the Bitcoin Las Vegas event. Check out there for more information. If you want to meet me in person, I'll be there to educate more people about freedom. Our website is there for you. And what you want to do is listen to our videos. Okay? Take the 7 steps right here. Click on 7 steps, right? And that'll take you to 7 steps. Follow the law is number 1. Watch these videos at home or at work, at lunch or dinner. But first, listen to it as you drive around in your car to and from work. Use that dead time in the car to educate yourself about the law. Short videos there, long videos there, and then, like I said, you can watch it at lunch or dinner, and you really will understand all this. And you're going to be like Neo in Matrix. I am your Morpheus, and you are the Neos. You get yourself out of the Matrix. I can only give you the path to freedom, to defund the crooked swamp. Don't give your money to your enemies in Washington, D.C. Keep it for you, your family, and toward restoring freedom in America. Okay? I love you all, and I want you to be free, but I cannot take the steps for you. You have to choose. You have to choose and choose truth. Seek the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So freedomlawschool.org is there. I love you all. Hope we can join hands together. You can do it on your own if you want to. The first 5 steps or the last 7 steps. Okay, restore freedom and also tell others about us. Love America, love freedom. Tell others about us, and together we can have America be a free country once again. Thank you for being with me.